I'm still pretty stunned on why we have all gathered here tonight. Stunned and saddened. We lost a good man, someone we all cared about deeply, and someone we will never, ever forget. Michelle wanted me to say a few words tonight about Steve and the good work he did through his foundation in helping people who weren't quite as fortunate as he was. Steve always believed it was important to give back to the communities that gave so much to him. I've gotten to know Steve and his family well over the past 12 years by working with his longtime agent and very close friend, Bus Cook. And I consider myself extremely blessed to have been part of his foundation since its inception and to see firsthand the positive impact Steve had on many people. Steve managed to touch literally tens of thousands of lives, both through the work his foundation did and quite often on his own, without anybody knowing about it. I can remember on more than several occasions the Titans finding out after the fact about a visit Steve made to a children's hospital, a boys and girls club, or an inner city youth center. Either Bob, Robbie, or Ralph from the Titans would say, "We would have loved to have known about this beforehand so we could get some media out there." But that's not why Steve did those things. He didn't do it for his image. He definitely didn't do it for the press coverage. He did it for one reason, and that was because he wanted to. That's who Steve was, and that's how I always remember him. The community work he did was far-ranging. Steve and his foundation raised and contributed hundreds of thousands of dollars to many, many worthwhile causes. I wish I had time to name them all, but to be honest, I would be here all night. Just to name a few, include a $30,000 donation to his local Boys and Girls Club in Mississippi, another $30,000 donation to Centerstone in Nashville, and even at his retirement dinner this past October, he managed to raise money and awareness for our good friends at the Charles Davis Foundation, the Mississippi Autism Center, and Foundation Hope. Other worthwhile beneficiaries of the Steve McNair Foundation include the Preston Taylor Boys and Girls Club, the Jess Neely Youth Intercity Football League, the Jason Foundation, the Bethlehem Center, Make-A-Wish Foundation, American Red Cross, and the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society. Again, just to name a few. Steve even partnered with Brett Favre and the NFL Youth Football Fund in 2005 to donate over $150,000 to more than 20 youth, middle, and high school football programs across South Mississippi. When natural disaster struck, whether it was a ravishing tornado outside of Nashville or the devastating Hurricane Katrina on the Mississippi Gulf Coast, Steve McNair was there. Through the confusion and debris, Steve, like all great quarterbacks, was a leader and not a follower. He saw the need for leadership and mobilized not only his foundation, but an entire city to act quickly in raising money, food, and much-needed supplies for the people in the hardest-hit areas. The kindness of the great people of Nashville was on full display that day, and trust me, as a person who saw the devastation and suffering firsthand, it was very much appreciated. In addition to his many monetary contributions, Steve was always donating his time as well. He helped the Boy Scouts, the Boys and Girls Clubs, and too many teammates and fellow NFL brethren to name here raise money for their causes and foundations just by showing up at their events and signing autographs. Anyone who has ever seen Steve McNair sign autographs in a crowd of young children can't help but leave touched. I can honestly say that I have never, ever seen Steve before every single child got an autograph or a pat on the back. He and his family even went so far as to open their house and to host at his mother's home in Mount Olive an annual back-to-school event for local children and their families. I believe one of Steve's most lasting accomplishments was his football camps in Nashville and Mississippi. For 10 years, Steve has been hosting his camps, and at last count, we have had over 8,000 children, the majority of which were underprivileged, pass through our camps. Steve always said if he could touch just one, it was worth it. I can promise you, he touched a whole lot more than one. Many of our camp graduates have gone on to play college football, and now several are in the NFL, even with the Tennessee Titans. I think what Steve was really proud of was the fact that some of his past campers are now hosting youth football camps of their own, passing the torch to a younger generation, so to speak. Over the years, Steve garnered many awards and accolades for his community service efforts. Several among them that stand out include winning the Titans Walter Payton Man of the Year Award, being named the Humanitarian of the Year by the Nashville chapter of the Association of Fundraising Professionals, and being selected as the National Football League's Byron Whizzer White NFL Man of the Year Award in 2005. The Whizzer White Award is presented annually by the NFL to the player who best serves his team, community, and country in the spirit of Byron Whizzer White, the late Supreme Court Justice who was a scholar, athlete, patriot, humanitarian, and public servant, the personification of the ideal to which professional football players aspire. Steve was singled out for the award over every other person in the National Football League. Almost 1,700 players could have been chosen, yet they selected Steve. I think that speaks volumes for the type of player and person that Steve McNair was. The Lord took a good one from us, but we have to think not of the times that will be missed in the future, but rather to be thankful for the times that we have had with him in the past. My thoughts and prayers go out to Michelle and the entire McNair family. Thank you, and may God bless.